Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and today we're going to talk about exactly if all you had was $100, how could you ensure you can actually turn it into more money? And in this case, we're going to talk about exactly how to turn $100 into $1,000,000. So in this video right here, I'm going to give you guys 3 ways to actually do this by investing. Now, the goal for this video is that, for example, if all you have is $100 to actually invest per month, or per week, or per day, it doesn't matter, because in the end, I'm going to make sure you can actually guarantee you're actually going to be able to become a millionaire just by having a $100 budget. I think this is actually backwards, so here we go here, $100 budget. Now, the first thing is this, guys. If you guys don't know me, my name is TommyBryson, and I upload videos on this channel every single day, so make sure to also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, and on top of that, also destroy the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys so much. It helps a ton. Even if you think that slapping the like button doesn't matter, it matters a lot in the YouTube world. Now, the first thing is this, guys, okay? When it comes to only having $100, the key is going to be, how do you actually invest it? How often do you actually invest $100? And on top of that, what do you actually invest this money into? And that's why when it comes to investing, number one, I want to share with you guys 3 ideas to make sure you guys understand exactly how investing actually works. The first thing is going to be dollar cost average, then time in the market, and then lastly is going to be what to actually invest into. And then we're getting to the second thing to do and the third thing to do when it actually comes to investing to actually make $1,000,000. Now, the first thing is this: dollar cost average. When it comes to investing, for example, into the stock market, everyone knows by now that basically when you buy an investment, you're not always going to buy at the same price, because literally every single day, Monday to Friday, the price of investments change every single second. So just to clarify this point, guys, okay? Say, for example, you invested $100 today, but you only invest once a year. So for example, if you invest this $100 today and then your investments drop by 50%, it means that basically, hey, you're going to have to wait maybe 1 year or 2 years or 3 years to see your investments actually go back to normal. But if you're buying consistently, you're buying at the average price, and that way you're not at risk of actually any market fluctuations as much as someone that only invests, for example, once a year. So I highly recommend you invest, for example, once a month or maybe once a week, how often you want, but just make sure you're doing it consistently, and that way you're doing dollar cost average. Now, the second thing is this: Tommy, how long am I going to have to invest for? Well, the answer is this, guys, okay? Although right now all you have is a $100 budget, it doesn't mean for the next 40 years all you're going to have is a $100 budget. So it all depends how much money you're willing to invest, and on top of that, exactly what your goals actually are. For example, you have people that are very extreme with investing, and they are actually called the people that actually follow the entire FIRE movement. And that stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And these people basically grab all of their income and invest between 50 to 75% of their income, and in 10 to 20 years, boom, they retire. They don't need to invest anymore, and they can basically have financial independence without ever worrying about getting another job ever. But the idea is they invested a ton of money. However, if what you want to do is just put aside $100 per month and then worry about it when you actually retire when you're 65 years old, well, that's fine, and you're going to be doing it for a while. But if you want to do what I do, which is basically I invest a lot of money, but I also focus on my retirement, and that's why I built up my entire 401k account. I also am building up my Roth IRA account, but I also have a separate brokerage account where I actually invest heavily to actually get my financial freedom a lot faster. But again, you don't have to invest a ton of money. The point is, with a $100 budget, just invest consistently over the long run, okay? That's the idea. You won't get rich in 1 day or 10 days or 1 week or 1 month. The answer is you're going to get wealthy by investing over a long period of time, 10 to 25 to sometimes even 40 years. But that's the idea, okay? It's not a rich, fast scheme, whatever you want to call those things. The idea is by investing over time, you're going to get wealthy. Now, when it comes to what exactly do you actually invest into, well, what I do is I invest into index funds, ETFs, and also some mutual funds. Now, the idea is, okay, if I wanted to, I could grab my $100 and put it into Tesla, or for example, Amazon or Apple. But the answer is, if I did that, an Apple or Amazon or any Tesla company actually went bankrupt, then in reality, I would lose my $100 investment. So by investing into ETFs and index funds and mutual funds, the idea is I get to basically limit my risk by investing into the entire stock market and not worrying about like, hey, one company or two companies here and there. And right now what I do is basically I use an app called Acorns that lets me invest not $100, but $5 every time I want to, and it puts it into a portfolio. And right now my portfolio is called moderately aggressive, and this portfolio has, for example, 80% stock ETFs and also 20% bonds, basically meaning I invest into the best, biggest 500 companies in the stock market in the US, also companies outside of the US, and also real estate companies, and on top of that, even government debt or, for example, company debt. And that way I have a lot of diversification and I don't have to worry about one company going bankrupt, because in reality, I'm investing almost into the entire stock market, not just in the US, but also outside of the US. And that's the cool thing. And that's what you want to do when it comes to your $100 budget, because in the end, trust me, this is going to become a ton of money. Now here's how, guys, okay? Say for example, you invested $100 every single month into the S&P 500, which has given around a 8% return every single year on average. And you might say, Tommy, that's not a lot of money. In reality, $100 is only around $3.33 every single day. Now, over a period of 25 years, that's going to give you around $94,000. That's a lot of money. If you did it, for example, over 45 years, well, in reality, you would have around $500,000 from your $100 monthly investing. Now, say, for example, you wanted to go even more extreme. And you said, for example, Tommy, well, I don't want to do it every single month. I actually want to invest $100 every single week. So 4 weeks out of the month, 100, 100, 100, 100. Now, this is going to be crazy, okay, guys? Because basically, in 25 years, you would have around $410,000. In 45 years, you would have around $2.1 million. Now, it's insane, I know. But say, for example, you wanted to go even further. And you said, well, Tommy, I want to invest $100 7 times a week, every single day. Now, that's a lot of money, I know. But in the end, if you do the math the way I do it, that's only around $4.16 every single hour of the day. So that's how I break things down smaller, and that way we can figure out exactly how can I actually make this money. $4 an hour, how can I actually make this extra money? And that's how I get my goals done. However, if you did this for 25 years, you would have around $2.8 million. If you did it for 45 years, you would have around $15.2 million. And that is the crazy thing about compound interest and also investing over a long period of time. But either way, if you invest in monthly, weekly, or whatever, this $100 investment is going to turn into $500,000. But again, I don't expect your budget to remain $100 per month for the rest of your life. So as you actually keep investing and making more money over time, you can always invest more and then actually get to your $1 million goal at the end of retirement, or for example, if you want to be extreme, in 10 to 20 years or so, okay? That's a cool idea. Now, by the way, I'm also gonna put a video link down below on basically my entire portfolio and what I invest into. And again, the app I use is called Acorns, and I'm gonna put a link down below also. And when you sign up, you also get $5 to go ahead and invest also. Now, here is this, guys, okay? Because number 2 is all about paying back your debt. Now, you might say, Tommy, we're talking about how to become a millionaire, but how can you become a millionaire if you basically have a ton of debt? So, although investing is very important, and that's first, I also want you to worry about your debt and also paying that down. Now, the reason I want you to do investing and paying debt at the same time is because basically, a lot of the time when someone pays off all their debt, in 1 to 3 months, they're right back in the hole. And I wanted to avoid that because basically by investing at the same time, you're going to be focused more on investing. And when you're done with your debt, you're basically going to take all that extra money and then put it into your new goal of investing and get into that $1 million status. So here's how you actually go out there and handle your debt. And we're going to talk about 4 types of debt. For example, your mortgage, your auto loan, your credit cards, or for example, even your student loan debt. Now, if you have, for example, a mortgage, most of you probably won't, but if you do, congratulations. That's pretty cool. But whenever you do buy a house, you want to make sure you're not spending more than 30% of your income every single month on that mortgage. And here's why, because houses can be very expensive. And I want to make sure it's just not the mortgage, but overall all the expenses that the house actually incurs. Meaning, for example, the bills, water bill, electricity, the taxes, insurance, management, maybe maintenance. The idea is make sure that doesn't pass over 30% of your monthly income, and that way you have a lot of extra money. Now, when it comes to Tommy, what type of loan should I get? The answer is some people want to do a 15-year loan. And the idea is I want to pay it off super fast. I don't want to deal with a 30-year loan. The answer is, although you get to finish in half the time with a 15-year mortgage, the idea is you don't have the flexibility of a 30-year mortgage. You can say, for example, you actually can't work anymore or you lose your job. At least with a 30-year mortgage, your payments are a lot lower. And on top of it, you have a lot more flexibility. Meaning, if you want to finish a 30-year mortgage in 15 years or 10 years, you can always do that. But that way you have more options when it comes to everything. So I highly recommend whenever you're ready to buy a house, just make sure, again, no more than 30% of your income monthly. On top of that, get a 30-year mortgage. And if you actually want to pay it off faster, by all means, go ahead. But in the end, 30 years from now, the money you spent on that mortgage is actually going to be worth a lot less money because of inflation. So in reality, you're saving money by basically carrying that debt for a very long time also. So make sure you run all the math and all the numbers to make sure you understand. And on top of that, make sure to use a rent or buy calculator to make sure buying a house is a good investment for you. And you can find that on Google. Just type in rent or buy calculator and it'll tell you, should you buy a house, or for example, should you just keep renting, okay? It's not the same for everyone. Now, the second debt is actually auto loan. Now, auto loan is one of the worst things ever because basically a lot of people go out there and they buy a brand new car and literally in the first year, they lost a ton of value because of depreciation. If I told you, hey, give me $100 and I'll give you $20 tomorrow, would you give it to me? The answer is no, obviously. But that's what a car is. You buy it today for $100, tomorrow it's worth 80, then 50, then 30, and before you know it, you basically just lost all your money because of depreciation. And that's the bad thing about buying a new car. However, when you're going out there and trying to buy a car, make sure to buy a car that's between 3 to 5 years old and is also used, and try to ride that car until the wheels actually fall off, okay? So take care of it, maintain it, oil change, tire pressure, do everything to make sure that car lasts you between 5 to 10 years. And that way, you're buying a used car, save money in depreciation, but you're not spending that much money. However, if you already have car debt and you're paying, for example, $1,000, no, Tommy, I don't pay $1,000 because my car payment is only around $400 every single month. The answer is, well, $400 for the car, okay, every single month, $200 for insurance, $20 for parking, and then maintenance, and then oil changes and tire pressure changes. Tire pressure checks. The answer is it can get very expensive very quickly. A car is very expensive, okay? So you want to make sure you also pay that off, but I'll get to that later in the video. The third type of debt is basically student loan debt. Now, you have good debt with student loan debt, and then you also have bad debt with student loan debt also. And the idea is, if you spent, for example, $100K in student loan debt, but you have a job that basically is paying you $100K also every single year, the idea is you probably made a good investment. It's a good career. But if you spend, for example, $300,000 or $600,000 on your student loan debt and you only make $100K or $150 every single year, the answer is you probably made a very bad mistake. And that is the idea. But in the end, whether you made a good mistake or bad mistake, you still have to pay off that debt. The last debt is actually credit card debt. And it can range from 15 to 35%, and it's also very expensive. And for example, the average household in America owes around $16,000 and $60 in credit card debt, which is very expensive. But overall, Tommy, how do I pay, for example, this debt, and in what order? My mortgage, my student loan debt, my credit card debt, my car debt, how do I do it? The answer is just use the Avalanche Method, meaning you're going to pay the debt with the highest interest rate first and then work yourself down. So most likely your credit cards are going to be the most expensive thing and you want to tackle that first. So basically pay the minimum on everything, and the card that has the most interest rate, pay extra money towards that and finish it off fast. Once you're done with that, do the same thing and pay the other card with the highest interest rate and keep working yourself down. After that, get to your car loan debt. If you have one, pay it off. However, if you bought a new car, you might just want to sell it, okay? Cut your losses, pay it off, and then get a used car, okay? Because the math and the numbers don't lie, and that is going to cost you a ton of money. So be very careful with buying a new car again. And then when it comes to your mortgage, I recommend highly just pay your payments every single month. If you want to pay it off faster for peace of mind, fine. However, you don't need to, because in the end, because of inflation, that money is going to be worth a lot less. And in reality, that money could go towards investing right now in the future. And when it comes to student loan debt, usually it's a good investment, but you also want to pay it off. And for people that say, Tommy, but you know what, I can use all that money to basically go ahead and invest, the answer is right now with student loan that's around like 3% to 4%. And in reality, after your investments actually get taxed and everything like that, it's almost the same thing. So you also want to be putting more money towards your student loan debts. And on top of that, just make sure you don't pay the minimum. Add an extra $100 to $200 and finish, for example, in half the time or a third of the time and be done with it, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's still costing you money. But in the end, remember, okay, the idea is I want you to invest and pay your debt at the same time. And that way you build a habit of investing. And once you're done with your debt, you don't go right back into debt. You go back into putting all that extra money into investing. Investing. And that is the core idea here. Now, the last thing you have to do to become a millionaire, in a sense, right, is basically you have to live frugally. Now, whenever I say this, people think like, hey, Tommy, I don't want to be living on cornflakes for breakfast, dinner, and lunch. The answer is no. You don't have to do that. But living frugally basically means you have to know exactly what your expenses are, what your income is, and how much money you can afford to spend without going into massive debt. That's what it basically means. So, for example, if I told you, who is richer? A person that earns $1 million per month, or for example, a person that earns $3,000 per month. You might say, Tommy, obviously here, the $1 million person earns a lot more, so obviously he's richer. But then if I told you, well, what if that person actually spends around $1.1 or $1.2 million every single month? Is he still rich? The answer is no, because if anything goes wrong, he is going to be in a massive hole. But if that person only makes $3K per month and only spends around $2,500 or $2,000, in reality, they're wealthy because basically they spend a lot less than they actually earn, so they just have extra money to go out there and invest or do whatever they want with it. But overall, that's the core idea when it comes to investing and becoming a millionaire. It is hard to become a millionaire if you have a lot of debt. It's also hard to actually cut your debts if you actually live beyond your means and don't have any extra money. So I want you to follow these rules right here. Invest $100, make it your budget. However, if you can't afford to do it right now, just invest $5 into Acorns every single week or every single month and get into that habit, and then start paying off your debt and also live frugally, and that way you have extra money to actually go out there and invest or pay off your debts a lot faster. But that is the key. And by the way, when it comes to if you have a lot of debt, you want to handle that first, but you also want to invest $5 to $100 into your investments to build up that habit. And that's the point of this video. But guys, comment down below and let me know, was this video helpful? Are you going to follow this to get to your goal of 1 million? Comment down below, let me know. And right now, this is exactly what I'm doing. And all I have left is student loan debt, and I'm paying it off a lot faster, even though I could pay it off in full right now, but there's no need for that. But I am paying it off a lot faster because I don't want to be stuck with that debt for 10 years or 20 years, because in the end, your investments kind of like average it out, okay? So you kind of want to take that out the picture also. But that's about it for this video, guys. Comment down below and let me know if it was helpful. And as always, if you enjoyed this video right here, guys, well, like this video. On top of that, also, start that and hit the bell so you're notified every time I post a video. On top of that, also follow me on TommyBryson. And on top of that, if you want to watch another video on 7 ways to build passive income, well, here's that video right here. And click my face right here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And as always, peace.